I believe I am live. So, if you can see me and if you can hear me, it would be fantastic if you could toss a little note into the chat so that I know you can hear me loud and clear and that you can see me well. Hey, Adam, how are you? Let's see, I've got Diana's here, a couple of other folks just popping in. Let's see. Sound and video is fine. Excellent. I'm glad it's fine. Hopefully it's even good. Let's see. I'm just taking a look down here. Obviously, you can tell I'm looking at the chat when I'm looking down here. Diana, great. Holidays are good and enjoyed some time with family and catching up, watching some videos, content creation, taking the week off. How about you and your wife? Very kind of you to ask. Lindsay and I are having a lovely, lovely holiday season. I've actually got some more family coming in this evening, so I'm popping on this quick live stream here. Hello. Hi, I'm new here. Let me know your name. I see EV's vlogs to the max. Let me know your name so I can say hello. We've got lots of regulars that kind of pop in and out of these live streams. Some folks been here for years, and I appreciate that we've got some new folks. This channel's growing again, which is very exciting after taking so much time away from doing regular uploads. Almost a year. A couple months ago, I announced that I'd be doing regular uploads again. In addition to launching my new channel, the Audio for Content Creators channel. I've been doing regular uploads here. I have not been quite as good about the new channel, but this channel is actually growing again at a nice rate, which is great to see that we didn't completely lose all the progress we made over the last couple of years. And speaking of progress, by the way, over the course of this video, let me know what you think about the audio, because I'm testing a new microphone today that if those of you who follow my Audio for Content Creators channel will probably know which mic I'm testing. In fact, you can see it right here at the bottom of the screen just a little bit. We'll talk about that later. So, speaking of all of the, you guys are talking about that new Rode mic down there. Oh, hey, Evan. Very cool. It said held for review. There, show Evan. Evan, nice to meet you. EV Vlogs to the max. Guitar player, love it. Love when we have the guitarist in here. I'm in my happy place in this new studio, although I still have to get these guitars up on the wall. We're working on that. Let's say Adam, Diana are talking about that new Rode NT, the Video Mic NTG. Adam, you just ordered it. Yeah, I'm very excited. I will be reviewing the Rode NTG. I can probably say this. Rode reached out, and probably just after years of seeing me talk about the Movo VXR10 and how much I like that better than the Rode Video Micro, Rode decided to send me the new Video Mic NTG for review. So I'll be getting that soon, and it's not coming in until like the first week of January, and then I'll do some review and a bunch of videos on that, so that'll be fun to check out. I'll do those all on the new Audio for Content Creators channel, which most of you who are here are probably subscribed to. But the purpose of this video, let's not get too sidetracked. Let me do the purpose of this video, and then we can all chat and do any other questions, Q&As along the way. The purpose of this channel is I am, as you saw in the thumbnail, completely getting rid of selling my entire YouTube setup. Everything I use for YouTube, the Canon M6 with the 18-55 kit lens, which is my main camera, the unbelievable, incredible 11-22 wide angle zoom lens, that is getting sold. The magnificent little beast, this tiny little 22mm f2 pancake lens, absolute beast for low light, for that shallow depth of field, for the it's just a bokeh, beautiful. I'm getting rid of that. I am getting rid of, yes, the G7X Mark II, which has become highly in demand with the Mark III, because the Mark III was such a letdown for people. Everyone's looking for the Mark IIs now. Yes, I'm getting rid of one of these. And this beast, This is the Sigma 17 to 50 f2.8 all the way through. The zoom range is f2.8. This is like your standard zoom with like I said, f2 all the way through. And this is for the crop sensor. This is an EFS lens, so it's made for like the 80D, 70D, those kind of. It's made for the crop sensor, not the full frame, and so you do need an adapter. I have a Movo adapter. Of course, it's from Movo. I have a Movo adapter for the to go from EF or EFS lenses to the EFM system. And on that note, I also have this super cheap, but very, very good Yongnuo 50 millimeter 1.8, which is your standard kind of, that's your standard nifty 50, just a third party one, which you also need to use the adapter for. This has been my YouTube setup for the better part of the last couple of years. Hey Ben, good to see you. I built my entire channel using this setup, and I was using it until about 3 weeks ago. Prior to that, I have always used Canon. The first real camera I ever got was a camcorder, and in 2009, I bought a Canon Vixia, and at the time, I bought the model that was like the highest prosumer model because I needed something to film my magic shows so I can make promotional videos. And I loved that camcorder. I used it until just over a year ago when I upgraded to a 4K Panasonic camcorder, which I have been very unhappy with, and we'll get back to that later. But ever since then, I went to the Canon M3 and the G7X Mark II, and then upgraded to the M6 from there and sold the M3, and I've developed these lenses. And this system, basically, if you just had the M6 with the 11 to 22 and the 22 f2, that is for about $1,000, even less if you're buying it used. That is a magnificent YouTube setup. This is the original M6, not the Mark II. If you don't care about 4K, this is an unbelievable setup, and I'm getting rid of all of it. I'm selling all of it. And yes, I am going to offer to anybody here that is a subscriber that's interested in any of this, I'll let you know how you can purchase. I'm going to give the option to my subscribers to purchase for about 1 week before I put them up on eBay, at which point they'll go quickly because cameras always do on eBay. So from now for about a week, if anybody's interested in purchasing any of these, I will put the prices, or I can talk you through the prices right now if you want. But first, let's talk about why I'm selling them and what I'm going to. So why am I selling them? This is the first time I'm ever selling a piece of gear, not because I outgrew it. I have not outgrown these. I adore the M6. I love the 11 to 22. I love the 22 f2. I love the G7X Mark II. I love this system so much. And I'm not a photographer, but when I do photos, the M6 is a 24 megapixel with a normal crop sensor, an APS-C sensor. Man, the photos that come out of this thing are amazing. The video is amazing. The dual pixel autofocus in this tiny little system is unbelievable. I love this system. So why am I getting rid of it? Well, as most of you know, about a year ago, I launched a podcast to go kind of as a tonal companion to my book. And the podcast has really done fantastic. I've got bigger and bigger guests, and I've got to a point where now most of my guests are legends and leaders of industries. And I was only doing audio at the podcast at the beginning, and then I decided that I wanted to leverage the power of YouTube for searchability for the podcast. I started uploading just the audio with thumbnails, basically just an image with audio. It's a terrible idea. A bunch of people told me I should do that. Turns out it just was not a good idea. It killed my YouTube channel and the algorithm because people would click on it thinking it was a video, obviously, because it was YouTube, realize it was just audio, and then bail. And so I had all these videos where YouTube thought my watch time percentage was like 1% because it was like an hour-long podcast, and people would click on it, watch for a minute, realize there's no video, and bounce. And that was a real problem. So I started filming the podcast, And the only way I could film a full hour-long or 90-minute podcast was with my camcorder, which currently is a Panasonic VX870. It's a 4K consumer-grade camcorder, about $800 or $900 when I bought it. It's cheaper now. And the quality's not great. Nowhere near as good as the 1080i that used to come out of my old Canon Vixia. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's better than that quality, but not what I expected from a camera that was 10 years newer and filmed in 4K. It's got these camcorders have these tiny little sensors. I know there's people that just say, whoa, if you're doing video, you should be using a camcorder because they're made for video. Yeah, they're made for video, but they have these tiny little sensors and a lot of noise. I was filming with the camcorder at f2, which is as wide as it goes, as open as it goes, and blasting studio lights. I was doing this for the podcast. I was doing just tests on my own in my studio, blasting studio lights. So I managed to do a test with my this Panasonic VX870 camcorder, open and with no gain. Gain is what video cameras call, what we call ISO. So basically, base level ISO. There should not have been any noise. And it was so noisy. There was so much grain, so much noise in the shadows, and it was open with no gain. I got really frustrated. And the thing is, the quality of the camcorders, it's fine. If you watch the videos that I uploaded using that camcorder, all the podcasts from this season that were live in person that I filmed with that camcorder, it's fine. Filmed it in 4K, used the ability to crop and post for the second angle. It's fine. But the thing is, these guests that are coming on, these are legends and leaders of industries that are gifting me an hour, 2 hours of their time. And I want, out of respect to you, my audience, out of respect to these people, my guests who are giving me their time, and out of respect to the world-class conversations that we're having, I want the video quality not just to be fine. I want the video quality to match the quality of my guests and the conversations and respect my audience. So I needed cameras that could film, record video, unlimited, which immediately rules out Canon. It just rules out Canon right away. And if you want to use 4K, which was not my biggest concern, but it's like a nice to have, right? As we all know. Okay, a note on 4K. I keep getting flack in the comments from people when I keep saying you don't need 4K. Listen to me. You don't need 4K. 4K is years away from being the standard for YouTube for content creators. Most people cannot watch 4K footage for real on anything that they're normally watching on. And if you're watching on your phone, I don't care if your phone's telling you you're watching it in 4K. A screen this small, even though these are pretty big these days, you're not getting 4K. But of course, if you film in 4K, downsample at 1080p, you are getting better resolution, right? Your 1080p will look better than if you had shot 1080p natively. And you get the benefit if you film 4K and output in 1080p of cropping in post, recomposing, or even just getting two angles kind of for the price of one, right? By cropping in. So you can have a wide shot with two people and then crop in for the one person, crop in for the other person. There are advantages to 4K. Now, the thing is, the 4K wasn't the biggest deal to me, but I needed unlimited video record time. And I wanted to, if I was going to get a new camera, what I wanted to do is replace my entire setup, which is 3 cameras, the M6, the G7X Mark II, and the Panasonic VX870, with just 2 cameras that can do even more than what I currently do. I wanted to go from 3 cameras to 2 that have more flexibility. So what do I need? And I see the live chats going off. I'm trying to ignore it while I focus on what I'm trying to say, and then I'll scroll back through it. Don't worry. If you're asking questions, I'll scroll back in a second. What do I actually need? First, YouTube. So I need something that I can film vlogging when I'm running around. So I need to be able to hold it out, right? Run and gun with it. So it needs something that can keep me in focus well enough. I need something for studio shots. So I want something with some nice bokeh, right? That can get some good background blur. So I probably want an interchangeable lens camera, right? Probably not a camcorder. I definitely need something that records unlimited so I can do the podcast, okay? So I also need 2 cameras so I can do the podcast. And I also need the ability to film my stage shows and my speeches, my speaking engagements from further away. So I need the ability to have a long zoom that will stay in focus, that will do autofocus from a distance. That's what my 3-camera setup currently does, except it can't do the podcast. So I need to go from 3 cameras to 2 cameras that does all of those things and unlimited video for the podcast. So what did I settle on? Guesses in the comments right now. Everybody's guessing. I think we've got lots of Sony guesses over here. Here's why I didn't go Sony. I didn't go Sony because of the flip screen. Most of their cameras, the really good ones, don't have the flip screen. I think the 6500 has the flip up screen, but very few of the Sony cameras have the ability to monitor yourself. And I know you can use external monitors, but again, running and gunning, you're not going to use that, right? It's just not going to work. So what did I do? I went to the Lumix G85. The G95 just came out, which dropped the price of the 85 down to a really, really fantastic price. During Black Friday, they had the G85 with the 12-60 kit lens, which is a 3.5 to 5.6 standard kit lens, but it's a 12-60. And the Micro Four Thirds system is a 2 times crop. 2 times equivalency. So 12-60 is 24-120. 24-120 full frame equivalent. That is a very, very good kit lens at 3.5 to 5.6. But during Black Friday, this also came with a 45-150 kit lens, which is an equivalent of a 90-300. 90-300. And this is a f4 to 5.6, I want to say. So these two, that gets me vlogging, right? Because I've got the kit lens, at least to start. Got the kit lens there at 12 millimeters. That is a 24 full frame equivalent. It's not super wide. It's not Casey Neistat. It's not anywhere near as wide as my 11-22, right, which is a 16-35 full frame equivalent. But it's wide enough to start vlogging. The 45-150 theoretically is long enough to film my stage shows and my speeches. I haven't had a chance to test that yet. And in a second, we're going to talk about autofocus because that's the big question mark right now with that, okay? Because anybody who knows anything about Panasonic cameras knows the one big downside is the autofocus. Unlimited video, 4K, that looks phenomenal. 4K in 24p, 1080 in 60. So I get to still do 40% slow-mo by filming everything in base 4K 24p. Somebody just popped in and said, I'm late. You are, but that's okay. We love you anyway. Thank you for being here. Then I picked up the 25mm 1.8. This is your standard Nifty 50 for the Micro Four Thirds system. This thing is beautiful, beautiful. And this is for doing studio work, for doing talking headshots. I picked up this is a 14mm f2.5. I was trying to get something that was as close to this 22 millimeter f2 as I possibly could for the Canon mirrorless system. This lens is turning out to be one of the most difficult things to replicate. This 22mm f2, this pancake lens, is just extraordinary. I really like this 14mm, which is even wider than the 22. So 22 on an APS-C is 35 on full frame. 14 on Micro Four Thirds is 28 full frame. So this is wider. But it's not as bright. It's a full 2/3 of a stop darker. And when you deal with f-stop equivalencies between Micro Four Thirds and APS-C, it's even darker than that. But that's a conversation for another time. Very technical, highly mathematics. But it is tiny. It's even small. I mean, look at this. I can't believe you got a lens smaller than the 22 pancake lens. So we've got this very, very nice f2.5, which means I can do kind of somewhat low light, close up talking head. For when I'm doing YouTube stuff, if I just want to sit it on the desk, if I'm in a hotel room and I just want to sit it on the desk and it's kind of dark, that'll be better. This will be much better because it's relatively wide and it's got it's not bright, but it's bright enough. Anyway, it's a full stop of light brighter than the kit lens. So that is the main setup, but you're thinking, okay, so you need two cameras though, right? The idea was you need two cameras for the podcast. So the other camera I picked up was very, very cheap. The Lumix GX85 for my second camera for the podcast. The GX85 is almost identical to the G85. It does unlimited video, it does 4K, it does all that stuff. It does not have the Cine D profile, which is a super, super, super flat profile for the G85. But you can do custom natural settings, just like always in here. This is very cheap. And it also came with a 45 to 150 as a Black Friday thing. So I have two of these now, which I'm not sure if I need both of them, but I have them anyway. The kit lens on this kind of sucks. It's a 12 to 32. It's not particularly good or anything. But the idea was that what I can do for the podcast is use the 25 1.8, which is basically a nifty 50, and the G85. So to use this on the G85 in order to do the close-up on my guest, right? A close-up, a nice bokeh shot on my guest, and then use the GX85 with the 14 f2.5 for the wide shot that gets both of us. And then if I need a close-up on me, I can use the 4K and just crop in over here. But it's not necessary to have a close-up, a third camera close-up on me. I'm not the focal point of the interviews. I'm the host. I want my guest to be the focus. So theoretically, I can use the G85 with the kit lens for vlogging, for running and gunning. It's wide enough. Actually, I wonder if I can show you. Let's see. Can I show you how wide? All right, maybe you can. Maybe you can see that. All right, so it's wide enough, right? It's wide enough if I just do it like that. That's fine. I mean, that's no problem. So I can use the G85 for vlogging, like I said. I can use the G85 with the GX85 for the podcast, as I just described. And theoretically, I can use either of those with the 45 to 150 to film my stage shows, and the second one for a second angle if I want to. And yeah. Oh, one big difference. The GX85 does not have a fully articulating screen. It doesn't even flip up. I forgot to mention that. That's one of the things you're not paying for when you get this one super cheap. It goes up to like 45, but it does not come out or up. So you can't really vlog with this well. Now, what are the things I love about the new Panasonic system? I've been playing with this for a couple of weeks. So what do I love about it? Well, what I love about it is the image is amazing. The 4K that comes out of the G85 is unbelievable. The last two videos I've produced, one on this channel and one on my other channel on audio for content creators, were filmed exclusively on the G85. And if you're wondering, the cover, the acoustic cover I just posted the other day for fun, Norwegian Wood, the Beatles song, that was on the G85 in 4K. And it was one camera, and I used all the cropping in post to do camera moves and stuff like that to make it interesting. But that was one camera, one take. So the G85 4K image is just extraordinary. And because it's a Micro Four Thirds system, these lenses are so small. They're so light. It's really amazing. I love the price was pretty good. This entire setup, all those things I just said, the G85, the GX85, and all the lenses, the 245 to 150s, the two kit lenses, and the 25 millimeter 1.8 and the 14 millimeter 2.5. All of that cost me about $1,400. That's it. I know that's a lot of money, but not in the world of cameras, and not for getting two 4K cameras that can accomplish this many different things. What do I miss about Canon? I've only been using it for a few weeks, and the freaking autofocus is no joke on the Panasonic system. Everybody complains about it, and they're right. I really hoped they were wrong. They're not. The autofocus just... It doesn't suck. It's fine. It's fine. It focus hunts, though, because it's a contrast-based system and not a phase-based system. And I've just gotten spoiled by the dual-pixel autofocus on the M6. The dual-pixel autofocus is just, you can run around the frame, you can leave it and come back, you can turn around, you can jump up and down, you can go in and out, and it just has you. It has you all the time, everywhere. I've gotten so used to that. What I've started to learn how to do using the Panasonic cameras is a lot of manual focus. The beauty is, because they're all electronic, even the manual focus is electronic. So you can autofocus in manual mode. What? What that means is you can set it to manual, you can show where you want it to focus, and then tap a button and it will autofocus and then stay there because it's manual. So it won't track you, it won't follow you, it won't change. But the beauty of the Panasonic system is they make an app. And on the app, you have complete full remote control of every single function. So essentially, you have a wireless control pad for the camera. So I can set up 4 or 5 feet away from me with the nifty 50 basically, and then I can do my ISO, my shutter speed, my aperture, my white balance, my focus, hit record, stop record, change every setting right on my phone. It's flawless and fantastic. So basically what I've gotten used to doing is manual focus, and if I move a lot, if I start to back up where I realize I'm losing focus, I just have to, down at my side, just tap the focus button and it'll immediately autofocus in manual mode and then stay there. So you're completely out of focus hunting. It never loses focus unless you move out of the focus plane. And I gotta say, I'm at first I had to get used to that, and now I kind of love it. There's never a moment when it's not in focus if you take a moment to really set it up right. So, so far I'm loving it. The one thing I have not been able to test yet is live stage shows and speeches. Setting it up from afar using a long zoom, which is not bright, right? If I zoom in, this thing will be down to 5.6. I don't know how it's going to handle if I'll have to crank the ISO and if the autofocus will be able to stay with me when I'm on stage. I'm concerned. So I'm not selling my camcorder, the Panasonic, the 870, because that works fine for me. For the live stuff, I'm not selling it yet. I want to do a bunch of run-throughs where I film with both of them simultaneously during some speeches, which I'll do in January. I have a ton of speeches and a ton of travel in January. So I'll test all that out and get back to you. But in the meantime, the one last lens I'm planning to pick up with for vlogging is the beautiful, beautiful Panasonic Leica 7-14 f4. It's f4 constant aperture all the way through. It's super, super wide. That's a full frame equivalent of 14 to 28, which is unbelievable. I'm pretty sure, like 99% sure, that's what Casey Neistat's been using all of this year in 2019 with his GH5. So super wide. And I will say this, when you're running and gunning, when you're vlogging, and you're worried about the autofocus, if you're using a wide-angle lens, it's probably got a pretty closed-down aperture to begin with. If you're at f4 or f5, the autofocus is no problem because there's so much in focus anyway. It's not a big deal. It's only when you're at like f1.8 to f kind of 2.8 or 3 when it's a brighter lens with a shallower depth of field and it's having more trouble keeping you. So that is why I'm changing. That is what I'm changing to. Now, I saw a million comments going by. Thank you. I think Diana and some other folks have been responding to some of these. So, Yeah, the AF is okay. Yeah, there's workarounds exactly like I was just talking about. Yes, the Adams exploits is the 22 pancake lens. This is the EFM lens for Canon for the mirrorless system. Is it compatible with the M50? Yes, all EFM lenses work on all of the mirrorless cameras, and it is beautiful. And what do I use it for? I use it for talking headshots. It gets that creamy, beautiful background blur, that great bokeh, but it's only a 35 mil equivalent, so you can set it up where you can basically still, if you have long enough arms, you can still reach the camera, which is fantastic to do a talking headshot where you can still reach it. And if you're on the M50, if you have dual pixel autofocus, at f2, it keeps you in focus all the time. That dual pixel is amazing. So, Adam, the 22 mil f2, if I could only have one lens for the mirrorless system, that would be it. It's exceptional. It's exceptional. Let's see. Who else? What do we have here? I've been looking for these cameras. Evan, which cameras? Hi, interested in those cameras. Evan, which cameras are you looking for specifically? And yes, let me pull up the prices that I am offering, that I'm asking for. And these prices are basically non-negotiable. I'm setting the prices at what I think is a very, very fair and reasonable price for each of these so that we don't have to negotiate, so that we don't have to play games. So let me just pull up the prices here. All of these are plus shipping. Okay, so the Canon M6. All right, if you're interested in the M6, Evan is. All right, the M6 with the 18 to 55 kit, I will throw in the Movo adapter so you can put any EF or EFS lenses on this camera. Okay, and I've got one official battery with this. So I have one official battery and the charger and the official charger. And I also have two more third-party Wasabi power batteries. Those will go with it. So the M6 with the 18 to 55, the adapter, and an official battery and two unofficial batteries with that charger. If you're interested in that, I'm going to do that for $395 plus shipping. That's just under $400 plus shipping for, here, I'll put this in the chat so we all know, Canon M6 plus 18 to 55 kit plus Movo adapter plus two additional third-party batteries. $395 plus shipping in the continental U.S. If you're outside the U.S., well, I can still ship it. You'll just have to pay for it. So, okay, so that's where we're at. I think I'm going to get it. Evan, you're going to get it? Well, if you're going to get, all right, Evan, here, I'm going to put in the chat right now. That is a boss price. That's a boss price because I just want to, I already bought the new system. I just want to get rid of these. And instead of going to eBay, I'd rather them end up in the hands of somebody who watches this channel and supports my work. And like I said, I'm setting these prices as fairly as I can. So there's my email. Evan, send me an email, put M6 in the subject line, and I'll be in touch after the live stream and we can work this out. Okay. So there's that. This is the first person that actually emails me and says like I'm buying it. Like is the first person who gets it. So, but Evan, I'll give you the first chance at that. So there's that. Okay. If anybody is interested in the 11 to 22, the wide-angle zoom lens, this is an expensive lens. These are hard to find, cheap, used anywhere. So if you want the 11 to 22, let's see, what price did I find? I'm going off of the fair price that these have actually been selling at used recently. The 11 to 22 is, we're going to do that for $280 plus shipping. Okay, the 11 to 22 is $280 plus shipping. I think this is a $400 lens. And all the lenses come with the lens caps and all that stuff. Okay, so again, if you want that, I saw someone say I want the 11 to 22, $280 plus shipping. Send me an email with 11 to 22 in the subject line. It's brianmillermagic@gmail.com. Boom. All right, there that is. The 22 millimeter f2. I'm going to let this go for $160 plus shipping. 22 millimeter f2 for $160 plus shipping. Okay, there's a 22 f2. If someone actually wants, I mean, this is so cheap. This Yongnuo 50 mil. If someone wants that, I'll do it for $40 shipped. Yongnuo 50 millimeter 1.8. That you need an adapter to put that on an EF system. That on an EFM system. The Yongnuo 50 mil 1.8 is an EF lens. This is for a full frame, so you need adapters, right? But I will do that for $40 shipped in the continental U.S. because that's just whatever. Okay, there's all of that, and Evan wants to know. Let's see. The Yongnuo does not work directly with the M50. You need the EFM adapter. So Evan, if you want the 50 mil 1.8 with because you're getting the adapter. If you want this with the M6, just add $40. I'll just toss it in for an extra $40 to what I told you. Okay, so let me know if you want this as well. Remember, there's a 1.6 crop factor on the mirrorless system, so a 50 mil full frame becomes essentially an 85 mil on it becomes basically like an 80 mil portrait lens, like 82 mil, something like that, on the mirrorless system. But you need an adapter. So this goes into the adapter. This adapter goes into the camera. So it becomes a bigger system. But it's great. It works well. Boom, boom. Diana, you're so sweet. Okay, G7X Mark II. This is the one everybody wants. The G7X Mark II, man. The autofocus is flawless. You know how much I love this camera. It's incredible. G7X Mark II is, I'm going to do that for $350 plus shipping, which is, I mean, come on, that is just low. Okay, so there we go. G7X Mark II is $350 plus shipping, and last but not least, this is a beast. This is the 17 to 50 2.8 with physical autofocus and manual controls and physical button control for stabilization on and off. I'm letting this go with the lens hood. It comes with a padded zippered case to protect it, and the huge 77 mil UV filter, which is on there. I'm doing this for $240 plus shipping. So Sigma 1750. Remember, that is an EFS lens. It works on APS-C Canon cameras, and if you want to put it on a mirrorless system, you need an adapter. So that is an APS-C lens. So it's an EFS. It works on like the 70D, the 80D. It doesn't work on full-frame Canon cameras, and you need an adapter to put it on the EFM mount. Okay, and I'm going to do that for what I say, $240 plus shipping. Yes, Sigma works. My life is a favor. Yes, Sigma works with M50 plus adapter. And I've used it a ton. This is a beat. It's heavy. It looks a little ridiculous on these giant ones. Oh, okay. So Diana, how's the AF motor sounds on the Sigma? Yeah, the Sigma, as you've probably heard if you know about this lens, the motor, you do hear the autofocus motor churning around if you're not using an external mic. You definitely need an external mic if you're going to do video with this. Like you can mount it on the camera. If you have a shotgun mic, you're probably fine. You're not really going to hear it too much, but you might even still hear it a little bit. I usually use this for B-roll when I'm not worried about the audio anyway. So yeah, that's what that is. Oh, let's see. Got any camera mics you'd recommend? I'm not getting rid of any camera microphones right now, but any external mics. But stay tuned because very soon I'm doing. Oh man, hang on. Can I lower that? Where'd my controller go? There we go. Very soon, I'm doing a giveaway of the VXR10. Movo sent me an extra VXR10 when I did a series of videos for them recently. I did a collaboration with Movo, which I think I told you guys about, where I basically filmed a series of tutorial videos for anybody who actually who buys it. Anybody who bought the VXR10 from them can get a series of five videos? I think 5 videos that I did. They're each like 4 to 5 minutes long, and it's just a tutorial series, a mini tutorial series on getting the most out of your VXR10 for all different types. I'm going to do a giveaway because I already owned one, right? I already owned one, which is right here. That's mine. I've been using the same one since the first one I bought years ago, well before I ever had a collaboration with Movo, which was 2 years in the making, obviously. But they sent me an extra one because I wanted to do a demonstration of a 2-person podcast using 2 of these microphones, so kind of a budget podcast. And so I needed a second one to demonstrate that in the tutorial for them. So they sent me one, and I told them after I was done filming that for them at some point, I would do a giveaway. So stay tuned for this. I'm probably going to do this as a giveaway on my new Audio for Content Creators channel as an incentive for people to subscribe and all that jazz. But stay tuned for that. Okay, so that is where we're at. I think that's everything. So anybody who actually wants any of that stuff, send me an email to brianmillermagic@gmail.com and put the name of the item in the boom, Evan, you emailed me. Thank you. Put the name of the item in the subject line. I will check that as soon as I'm off of this live stream, and hopefully those of you who do want it, we can just do payment today, and then early next week I'll ship stuff out. I've got family in for the rest of the holiday weekend, but I'll ship it out next week, and that's it. If I can unload this whole setup, it'll basically fund everything I've already purchased for the new rig. You guys get some great stuff at great prices. And Evan, for you and anybody who decides to pick up the G7X Mark II, for either of the 2 cameras, I will actually, if you want me to, you can decide. I'm going to wipe the settings, or I'm going to reset the cameras to their defaults. But the G7X Mark II comes with 3 official batteries. I have 3 official Canon batteries for this. You can have all 3 of them if you buy this. So because I have no use for them, and you'll never run out of juice. Like 3 of those things, you could go for probably 2 days without ever running out. You guys get some stuff that if all that stuff goes this weekend, that'll fund everything I already bought, and then I'll just spend my own money and pick up the 7 to 14 mil, which will give me a vlogging lens, and then then we'll be all set. So that'll be pretty cool. New channel name, Audio for Content Creators. It only got about 250 subscribers right now. I'm trying to do a weekly video on there. I'm failing at that miserably, but I'm doing my best. I do a weekly blog, I do a bi-weekly podcast, I do live streams about once a week or every other week. I do this channel, I do that channel, and I do the thing I actually do for a living, which is fly all around the world and give speeches. So, and I'm working on my second book, so I'm trying desperately in 2020 to get a handle on everything and make sure I keep consistency with all the different things that I do. Okay, with the last 15 minutes, any open Q&A, any chats, anything anybody's curious about, and how has the audio sounded during this live stream. What do you guys think about the audio so far? Oh, thanks so much for following the second channel. You're very sweet. I appreciate that. And Diana, thanks for asking people to like this video. I appreciate. I do it all the time though. I forget to like videos even though I love them. So I get it when people don't like it, but I appreciate it. How has the audio sounded? Are we happy with this? Does anybody know what I'm actually testing out here? Because if you were following the other channel, I did a first look. Audio sounds awesome. Oh, Ben, I knew you'd be excited about this. You know what I'm testing because you follow everything I do. I think Ben's gonna just show up at my house one day. Please don't, but I love you. Movo designed. Oh, hang on. You should still be able to hear me now. I just switched this over to a bidirectional, so you should be hearing me from the front and the back now. So Movo is just released. They sent me a copy when it wasn't even on the website yet. They just released this as a competitor, obviously, to, I don't even have to say it, you know what this is designed to be a competitor to. This is a USB microphone, a desktop mic. It's very heavy. It has a gain knob, and it has all of the different types of polar patterns. So it has cardioid, which is what I've been on the entire time. This is your standard cardioid, which is what you would almost always use. It has omnidirectional. It has stereo, a left-right, and it has a bidirectional, or a figure of 8, where it would record from both sides at the same time. So you could put it in the middle of two people, and it would record from both sides at the same time for a 2-person podcast into one mic. I don't like USB mics. I have never liked USB mics. I'm an audio guy, and USB is terrible for audio. Having said that, Movo is selling this for $100. They have not asked me to say this in this live stream. They sent it to me for a review. I've already done that review, so this is not part of them sending me this mic for free. I'm just talking about it. This USB desktop mic is, it's really good. I gotta tell you, I'm really impressed with this thing. It has a headphone jack on the bottom, so you can no latency monitor your audio. I have these headphones coming directly out of there, so I can hear all of the sounds from the computer and hear my own voice right inside my headphones, no latency. It's got a mute button, a big old mute button. And now you should be able to hear me again. And a gain setting right here on the back. And I'm going to tap the mic a little bit. I got to tell you, there's not too much noise, and I've been like leaning on the desk and stuff, and I don't think you're hearing too much of anything coming through here. So for live streamers, for gamers, or just for podcasters, I got to tell you, I'm really impressed with this thing, and I'm not a USB guy, but this is a steal for $100. And again, this is not part of the deal. They sent me this for free and asked me to do a review. I've already done that video. I've fulfilled my obligation to Movo for this. I'm impressed by this. Like, I'm paid about $130 for the competitor brand. Okay, so there you go. So it's a little bit cheaper. Movo seems to be making really good quality stuff. Oh, let me get right up on it and give you the kind of, let me give you the podcast sound. So if I was right up on it, let me back off the gain. Okay, so let me just make sure I'm not overloading. So if I wanted to do a podcast, I would be right up on this thing, and this is what it would sound like if I were doing a live stream or a podcast and getting that really smooth radio DJ voice. That smooth voice that makes everybody just feel warm and buttery. So, yeah, the abominable snowman mic. Very clever. That's funny. So I gotta tell you, and I've been using this with it out of frame basically, and just kind of sitting here and angled up towards me. You can, of course, take this off of the mount, and then you could mount it onto something else, right? I could mount it on something like this and just use it as a boom arm or whatever. Remember, When you're hearing audio in this room now, this is a fully treated acoustic room. This is a dead room. There's no echo in here, and it's acoustically balanced. So remember, condenser microphones like this. This is an XLR. This is a very, very expensive XLR mic. Like the USB ones that are condenser. Condenser microphones are highly, highly sensitive. If you are in a room with echo, if you have bare walls, if you have glass tables, if you have hardwood floors, you should not, under any circumstances, be using a condenser microphone in a room that is not basically dead, or at least treated, whether for real or not. You want, if you're in a room with carpet and you got some bookshelves up on the walls and you got some curtains, then okay, yeah, you can use a condenser mic and you'd be okay in a room like that. Even though it's not balanced, at least there's no echo. But condenser microphones, they will pick up a fly flapping its wings 3 houses down. When you hear it in this room, this is not the average YouTuber's space anymore, right? It used to be, but ever since I treated it, it's just dead in here. So this is what the mic actually sounds like, but it may not be like what the mic sounds like in your space. So just remember that. Okay, so that is that. Oh, I saw who posted "My Life's a Favor." Oh, what's your name? My life is a favor. I'd love to be able to actually call you by your first name or whatever name you'd prefer other than your username. You just said that you're getting the wireless, the WMX1. Yeah. That mic is also impressing me. I've never used wireless mics either because I don't like wireless anything when it comes to audio. But I used that on a video that I'm working on. I've been working very hard on. My last video of 2019 is dropping on New Year's Eve. It is a very long video. It's like a 35, 38-minute long video that will also be going as an audio version on my podcast. It is a decade in review where I talk you through the most significant moment of my career for each year of the previous decade, from 2010 to the end of 2019. Because in January of 2010, I was entering my final semester as a college senior. And at that time, entering this decade, I still believed that I was going to be doing a PhD in philosophy. I didn't even know that 3 months later, into the new decade, 3 months later, I would abandon that idea to pursue magic, and 10 years later, here we are. So this Decade in Review is kind of like a long-form video podcast. If you watch the video version on this channel, you will get to see photos and video clips and stuff I've dug up from the archives of when I was in college and all the years that I built my career when I was young to now. So that's going to be fun. It is very long. Watch it whenever you want. I think you'll enjoy it. Let's see. Diana, Doris. Nice to meet you, Doris. Quick question. Can I use Movo wireless mic to record sound into my MacBook? Yes, you can, because Movo always gives you all of the accessories and all the adapters you need. Where is it? Hang on. Ugh. All right. So the WMX1 system that I thought for sure I'd be just getting rid of, which I am not because I love it. They give you a TRS to TRS as a standard cable to go into a camera. They also give you a TRS to TRRS cable, 3-pole to a 4-pole. The 4-pole is what goes into a smartphone, tablet, or computer, and they even label that side with a little label you probably can't see here. This little label says smartphone. So you can actually know for sure which side goes into your smartphone or computer or tablet. Yes, you don't need anything additional with this. You just need batteries. They do both use two, I want to say AA batteries. AA? AAA. They each use 2 AAA batteries, so 4 AAA batteries to power this thing, which it's a bit much. It's a bit much, but all things considered, this is fantastic. I've been really loving this so far. Adam's exploit. All right, got 5 minutes. 5 minutes left. Adam's exploits. Adam, With the cardioid pattern, that's what I'm using now, it should just pick up what's in front of the mic. Okay, so cardioid picks up in front of the mic and a little bit to the side. It's got kind of a pattern that looks like this. It comes out like that. So it has its most rejection from 180 degrees off axis. So watch what happens. If I turn this around completely and I talk at the exact same volume, this should sound almost completely silent right now, as opposed to coming back around to this side, this should sound nice and loud and clear. There is a huge amount of off-axis rejection. So if you're doing a podcast, you always want cardioid mics and you want to be facing each other. So you got here and you got someone facing you, and that way you're each rejecting 180 degrees. You're each rejecting the other person's voice. The only way their voice could get into your mic is if you don't have anything on the walls behind either of you. If you have bouncy reflective surfaces, unlike this room, if you have bare walls or glass or something, if their voice, they talk, it comes at you, it goes past you, hits the wall, and it comes back, then it can come in to the mic. But yeah, using two cardioid mics is your best bet. And almost everybody doing a podcast on a budget should be using cardioid dynamic microphones. Dynamic mics are very insensitive, so they'll reject a lot of the echo and room noise, whereas condenser mics are much more detailed. You get a much crisper sound. You get a very full, deep, warm, crispy sound. But if you're in an echoey space, they pick up everything, and then who cares about your crispy sound when all you hear is echo? You're welcome. And Doris, yeah, I don't know if I mentioned that on the other channel or not. I will be doing a handful of specific review videos with this mic and with the wireless lav mic. On the other channel, Audio for Content Creators, and that way you'll be able to get more in-depth, more involved with those two. I wanted to actually do this. I wanted to test them for real in working environments before I did real reviews, as opposed to just the first look kind of a thing that I did previously. And yeah, Diana, Movo is awesome for including all the stuff. I gotta tell you, so I until 2 months ago, I didn't know them personally at all, right? I just used their stuff for years. I raved about it because I love it and I want to tell people about stuff I think is good. And then 3 months ago, they reached out to me and proposed a collaboration. They just paid me straight. They paid me to make a series of tutorial videos for them. It wasn't like a sponsorship. They paid me. I made videos for them. That was it. But then they said, hey, we'd like to start sending you some of our products for review. So now I'm doing sponsored videos with them, and there's a chance, an opportunity to actually become a Movo ambassador, which we're chatting about. We've talked about it. They haven't officially offered it to me, and I'm not sure if I'd want to do that, because that would kind of close me off from testing out other mics and other brands. But having said that, I've done conference calls and chatted with the folks over at Movo. They're a team. They're a handful. They're like 5 or 6 people, and they're awesome. They're all relatively young and cool and hip and fun to work with, and they just want to make great products that budget content creators can afford. They're really cool. Getting to know them personally it just changes your relationship, when it's not just a faceless company, just Rode, Movo, Canon. When you actually chat with them and you go, oh, this whole company is just a handful of really cool people trying to do something nice, make good products that are affordable, that people can use and create with. I can tell you from my experience, they're very genuine people. I like them a lot, and their products are great. I would tell you if one wasn't. And I'm happy to be affiliated with them in any way. Okay. I think that just about covers everything. Anybody who emailed me about any of these cameras or lenses, thank you. We'll get that taken care of ASAP. Appreciate all of you tuning in just during the middle of the holidays. My half Jewish side just came out. I almost said holidays. So happy holidays. And You'll see that giant decade in review video on New Year's Eve, and then new decade, 2020. I will see you then. Thanks so much for tuning in, and always remember our world is a shared experience. Have a great day, guys.